Jules Verne's The Time Machine, the character has to, from what I saw in the movie, I had never read the book, but the character has to destroy the time machine and the head cog creature behind the Morlocks in order to stop the Morlocks and have the world evolve in a more loving state of being, less maniacal. And then he gets moved time machine wise, maniacally, mechanism wise, into this future world that still has some of the intelligent ways of conveying the technology over the Orlando Jones's character, and it has a long history and interface of their existence, their history, and their mistakes, so they can pass them on to the children. He gets to be with the beautiful dark lady that's really attractive and really likes him, and he gets to be in a good world with the kids and stuff like that, and it's back to more of a natural state of being with the technology to help serve people instead of us being tied to our maniacalism. That's what he's talking about. So this is the movement of Jesus Muhammad in the future, is why he sees it. Do you understand? But it wasn't him that created it. He's basically just putting the scientist in the same position as being more like Jesus. So he's trying to put himself in a position of being more natural, faithful, kind, and beautiful. Understood? So please be more like Jules Verne. It would be a very wise thing to do. It'd make you a much more beautiful, faithful human being, someone that people would like to learn from. Use your technology to benefit us and not for us to serve it. This is just a wise idea. I love Las Cruces. Pretty dark-haired women all the time. Running around, man. My hometown. I've always been so lonely in this town, like I told you, man. I think I had a girlfriend, Peggy Pettis, for a week. Had to break up with me because all the black guys were all giving her shit because she was dating that white boy. That was it. That's the only girlfriend I've really had of any significance or any time and stuff in Las Cruces in my hometown. The rest of the girls I went after, I was either too shy or couldn't date because their dads wouldn't let them date me because I was white. Yeah, that's life in my hometown, man. It was a total trip. And then when I did bring my beautiful wife here, she's attractive and she screwed around with almost the whole town. Not almost the whole town, but a lot of them. Yeah, it's just, I respect it. And it's funny because they mug me, got in my face, you looking at my girl and all that shit and everything like that. I totally respected their relationships, their girls, them, the whole nine yards. Got totally disrespected my own damn self. I mean, if there's a man walking around the streets of Las Cruces, he's wearing his Arizona #1 jersey and his baggy Carpenter jeans, man. I like this, brother. I like me, man. I'm telling you, I do. The more I get to know me and the more I get to evaluate myself and sit here and talk about things and have everybody judge me and say, you got no right to do this, and then I have to go through and re-examine my life and explain it to you and tell you guys about it, explain it, examine it, observe it, analyze it, and explain all my deeds and actions and explain what I'm saying and how I have no right to judge and say this and stuff like that. The more I get to do it, the more I like me, and the more I don't like a lot of you. But it's been fun because it's been like this huge ass whooping. We're all bad. No, you ain't. You're a piece of shit. No, I ain't. And I can prove it to you. Freaking you and sticking you, and I'll start kicking some ass, man. And then when you get it, and I may be making up this whole connection to Guru, but I'm not. He's like, man, when you sit down and you look at it, dude, he just analyzes it with me and for me. He's like, dude, I mean, and I admire Guru. I think he's one of my favorite. He's one of my role models and one of my friends and somebody I look up to. And he's like, dude, you didn't sell out to anything, you didn't do this and stuff, but I didn't make much of an effect or influence or anything either, Guru, I mean, I just was this average guy that was always just trying to make my way best I could. I couldn't sell to this, I couldn't sell to that. You would never sell out to anything, man. Your integrity was always in trying to be the utmost thing that you kept in front of you, just against the worst. I mean, he was talking to me about that in the shower. I forgot about that. They were using the worst and the most influential and the most intense forms of all this crap that Michael Aquino and the Presidio were running out of that Presidio towards you, and you resisted it the most and the best. I mean, that should make you feel like a special human being. I guess it should. I mean, I don't like to compare myself to others. You're not supposed to. They're all comparing themselves to you. And it's that whole saying, that if you compare yourself to others, it will make you only bitter and vain, because there will always be greater and lesser men than you. And then that's what they're doing. And then so they're all bitter and vain because they see this man that they wanted to belittle and make into a littler man. And in the process, they made him a greater man than themselves. And that was never my intention. No, but it was their intention to bring down the great myth of Jesus, the great this and that. And in the process, they help build you up into something that you were even greater than before. Because you're not a living God, you're not a living deity. You're a beautiful human being that is an example of what we human beings can do if we cling to faith and cling to our integrity, our trust, honor, and character, and try to be the most beautiful, faith-filled human being that asks God for help whenever you're backed into the balls to wall. So you took the Jesus myth and made it into reality and outblew the myth. But I didn't do it, dog. It wasn't me. It was them. If it was left up to me, I'd just be an average dude. My girl, oh man, nah, I'd take that back. I would have played me some basketball and been part of this whole maniacal bullshit and bought into the stuff just like she did. Because she was going to be somebody, I was going to be somebody too, that they always constantly wanted to keep me down. Because I was dangerous and a game changer. And killing anybody that would have associated themselves with me, been friends with me, and helped me get together with someone that would help me change the world. Like you, like Jenny, like Selena, and Chris, and everybody else, We'd have been able to get together. I don't come in between people's relationships, and they were married. So I would have helped them with their relationships and any problems they had. She would have fixed me up with someone else. And that was the whole point she told me. She goes, as cool as you are, and as much as I love you, I was married, and you wouldn't have ever came on to me or destroyed my marriage. You would have enhanced my marriage. You're that type of person. You would have made sure that me and him had the tools and the communication skills to try to stay together much longer, much farther, and much better. Amy's the type that tears us all apart, but she's groomed and trained by the Temple of Set and the Illuminati. So if you had met a girl that resisted it like you did, you guys would have been amazing, spectacular, and would have changed the world. You were too dangerous to allow to get together because you would have broke down the entire banking system, the entire technological schemes, and the whole 9 yards. But we would have been good for technology and for resource management and for what bankers would be, because they would just be resource managers and seen in higher esteem in their society than they ever thought they could be. I mean, they took everything that they could have been given to have even higher regard, esteem, put our world in a better place, and made it stupider. But we can't go back in time to try to fix it. Our human time machines. Plane operator. That's the way things go. Isn't that the way they say it goes? So let's forget all that and give me the number if you can't find it, so I can call just to tell them I'm fine and show I've overcome the blow. I've overcome the blow. We learned to take it well. I only wish my words can just convince myself that it just wasn't real, but that's not the way it feels. Let's forget about this call. There's something in my eyes. You know what happens every time? No one there I think I really wanted to talk to. I just think about the love that I thought would save me, you know what I'm saying? Well, the love, we thank you for your time. You've been so much more than kind. You can keep a dime, because I don't give a fuck about a dime. All right? Let's talk, and let's make it real, and let's make real lasting relationships. Things change along the way, but don't go back and try to go back to you yesterday and try your love and find your faith in yesterday. Find it in today, and tomorrow is another day. Like on the old rescuers and shit. And now I hope you'll always stay. Tomorrow is another day. We have to be looking forward to tomorrow and hope that our tomorrow will be brighter because of how well we handle today and learn from yesterday. It's ridiculous to not let the past have any power over you. That makes you powerless in the moment because you've learned nothing from the past. You're going to have to learn to do math better. Okay, and then that whole time to eliminate all suffering. They were not trying to eliminate all suffering. They were trying to eliminate needless, foolish suffering from the cruelty and inhumanity and insanity of what humanity has become. Go listen to Jiddu Krishnamurti. He's a lot like Siddhartha, a lot like the Buddha, and he wasn't trying to end all suffering. He said that was folly. So did Pascal, and so did Jesus. suffering is greatly tied to your pain. So your sorrow and your pleasure are greatly tied together. And you wouldn't want to separate the two. For without knowing great suffering, you would never know the great joys and pleasures of fellowship, beauty, childbirth, marriage, lovemaking, all the beautiful things that this world has to offer. You would be devoid of if you were separated from your suffering. You'd just be an existing person that was trying to live in a state of bliss and nirvana regardless of what happened to you, which is insane. That's this happy guy that's on his drug trip. We just blew everybody up, but I feel fine. It's the end of the world as we know it, and I feel fine. I'm happy. The end of the world we know it, and I feel fine is basically because the world sucked. And now it feels better and I feel fine. That was always my comprehension of that, understanding of that song. Alright guys? Alright, I ain't going to use this going in the store. I'm going to be quiet in the store. I'm tired of talking publicly. I'm tired of the looks and the reactions and the actions I get from people. I get really good ones, but as many good ones I get as I get bad ones. And it's hard to relate to people that are not very intelligent, trying to think they're intelligent, and then they try to examine you and figure you out, and you just have to sit there and point, and then they hate you because it's like, oh my God, I looked completely stupid. That couple in the Soto Isle when I went in here were really cool and a lot of fun, and that guy in his Marine hat, oh God. Man, if that goes around town, he's pissed. Just like old Mr. Muhammad is a pedophile at the Goodwill. Why do you think after that shit, do you think people still open their mouths and talk to me about such stupid stuff? I mean, why would you? And then knowing that he is, and everybody knows it, and they have the surveillance to prove it, and now everybody knows it because he said it publicly about the Prophet and the Messiah Muhammad, and he called somebody something he was. They set him up. The computer set you up. The computer program sets you up to meet me and call you on your own bullshit. So if you called Muhammad a pedophile, you are one yourself, okay? We all would have tendencies, man. We all have an R. Kelly in us, man. If the girl showed up, had a fake ID that said she was 18 and she showed it to you and she was 15, you'd take her in that room and be happy. Oh, no, her ID right there says it's 18, and you'd be having wonderful, glorious sex with her. I wouldn't, because there'd be a little thing going off in my head, this is a bad idea and I don't think I'm going to do it. I'm looking for a girl who's close to my age, that I know that I sit down and get to know and talk to, and we talk about things. See, with Amy, she didn't tell me her age until we got together, but she was born in 1980, and the year was 1999. So she was a 19-year-old single mother. So she was of legal age for me to be with. She pursued me. If she had came and told me before we started dating that she was born in 1980, she wouldn't be able to ask me out on a date and go out with me. I would have been more prude about it. No, you're too young, man. We wouldn't have anything that we get along with, and we're raised from entirely different worlds. And it's like two different cultures entirely. And when we were during our marriage, it was like that. Even certain times with Stephanie, we were like completely different cultures. Well, she was gay, and she was raised to be more, her Aunt Kay explained that to me. We're more open about our sexuality, and we're more this and that, and guys screw around, so women have to just learn to do, if you can do it, I can do it too. You just have to learn to tolerate the existence of a marriage that you're not going to be faithful, and you just try to work your way through it as best you can. And I am in no way, shape, or form that way. No, I go in with the expectations that I'm going to work my best to be as faithful and monogamous with you as you are with me. That's just always been, not my assumption, but my understanding of how really good, protective, functional relationships work. I always told my kids this, I tell my sons this, and I tell all the young men I've worked with. Sex is a form of protection, an honest form of protection. People honestly know that you have sex with your wife and that you protect each other and just have sex with each other and have your children, protect your children, and raise your children to be the same way. That is what I see of a sexual union between two adults. Okay? That's why the whole things that Amy was trying to set up for me with Natalie and everything was unacceptable to me, because it wasn't a form of protection. It was making it into a form of secret protection. And it's an honest form of public protection. This is my wife, this is who I make my babies with, and this is who I bake cookies with. And I just bake cookies with her, and she just bakes cookies with me. Like those sisters in North Carolina used to sit there and treat my wife like shit because she was passing over and the wannabe. And then when I would show up with my wife, they'd start picking up on me. Well, you date the sisters. No, I'm married to a young woman that happens to be of color. She is my wife. Doesn't mean I have sex with women like you. It means I have sex with my wife. All right. Now, if I had a white wife, would you be picking up on me? No, because you wouldn't think I had sex with women that were of color. Well, it doesn't. Well, I don't get it. What if I've only slept with women that are considered black or African American? What happens if I marry a woman who's Latin? Are all the Latin women going to come up now that you sleep, and then all the black women? Well, don't you want to keep sleeping with us? That's just ludicrous. Now I have sex with my wife. It's a covenant between me and her. We protect, regard, and take care of each other's bodies, spirits, minds, hearts, and souls. And when I was told about that with certain things, it's bad science, but it's kind of good science. It's intelligent science to pass on, that if you have sex with someone else, you are exposing. You're not exactly doing it for sure verbatim, but you do expose your lover to all the people that these other people have been having sex with. So it's basically like having a huge gangbang if you're sleeping with a real slut on your girl. So it's like opening up the door of the bedroom and having like 30 women come in and 40 guys come in to screw your girl and do all kinds of sexual things with your girl. To me, that's just unacceptable. That's like a form of heinous, disgusting rape. And I had told everybody, I said I found it more disgusting than even the rapist, because the rapist doesn't profess to have a holy covenant to keep me safe and protect me and regard me and honor me. The rapist has no commitment to me, and my spouse or fiance does. So it's an even worse rape than the rape of the rapist, if that can be possible. That's why adultery is looked at so poorly in religious eyes. You raped your spouse. That's horrible, okay? And then when you rape your spouse, you put her at risk for a disease that could kill her, and then you're raping your children because you're robbing your children of their mommy or daddy. That's just horrible, okay? That's how I see things. So monogamy is in our nature, and I see it as something that's very beautiful and intelligent choice, and a very beautiful, intelligent kind of mental, emotional, and spiritual orientation that was in me from the time I was young. It was trained in me by the Mormon Church, but I had always had that lady right there is pretty. I've always had it ingrained in me and put into me, and something that I always thought, when I find that one and she's with me, I only think of her. I'm not thinking about, I told you I had all those different crushes and everything, and I did, but I would focus, but I never had a girlfriend. When I had a girlfriend, I was just focused, and that's all I'd think about was Tara Cornett. That's all I would think about was, even when Raquel Sully was mean, I still was just trying to, even the other girl was nicer to me and all that, and I had these moments of it. It's like, how can I help Rocky see? How can I help her get along with me and me get along with her? I like kissing her. I like making love to her. Why can't we be nice and get along together? Well, for Yolanda, it was a no-brainer. She was pretty. She looked like Dorothy Dandridge. She made love to me and made me feel romantic and like Big Laura. It was a no-brainer. I didn't understand why she was cheating on me. When she said she loved me the way I loved her. Same with Amy. Stephanie, it was a big relief when I found out she was homosexual. It was a big load off my mind, man. It made me feel really good about myself and then made me feel better about our marriage. I just wanted her to admit it and treat me and Patrick in a kind way and not use Patrick as a form of economic security and make our life so difficult, because she was insecure of the fact that she could actually take care of herself and needed other people to take care of her. And that really frustrated me. She finally did, and she's gotten better, and she's really financially a lot more responsible and stuff like that now, and I'm proud of her. And that was the whole thing, like with Stephanie, Amy, when we left and she was in Sierra Vista, and she said, I was so proud of myself. And I talked to her mom about it, and her mom was like, her mom told me that too, this is the first time Amy's ever had to do anything for herself. I'm like, why didn't you guys raise her better? I didn't understand the whole sexual components of their relationship and how she played them. It was their fault, but a lot of this was manipulated by the Temple of Set and the Illuminati and Michael Aquino using church groups and sexual manipulation groups and looking at these things and lining them up together. These people had some tendencies, but they were played and they were set up. Okay, they were very much set up. So they are, even though they are perpetrators, in a lot of ways they are very innocent victims of very evil, maniacal, sexual forms of mind control and manipulation to extort people, control people, and make people look bad so they could manipulate them. Very horrible, heinous crimes against humanity by those people, okay? So I think you should have some compassion and understanding for the Fabres and for other people like that. You understand me? people in different religious sects and churches. They said they did a lot of things in certain sects of the Mormon Church and other things, stuff like that. And I feel very sorry and compassionate for all of them. And I think we need to just not delve into it too deeply as far as trying to find out what happened, but just have people there to help the people through that were affected by this, tortured by this, and beat up by this. And we need just very loving, understanding people that are compassionate to help people through this hell that on earth that they tried to create through their sexual manipulation and mind control schemes. Okay? Understood? Very hard. It's very cruel. Well, because if Amy hadn't been put through that stuff and we had hooked up, oh gosh, she was fun to have sex with. She was pretty, and she has a good personality. And if she had been raised with some better social skills, you know, it'd been cool. But her mom sitting there saying she's never had to do this, and then Amy telling me how proud she was of herself because at 29 years old, she finally washed dishes, did laundry, and cleaned up after herself. And I'm like, oh, good God, you got to be kidding me. Well, I was doing this when I was like 9 and 10 years old. Shit. I've been doing this ever since I could, you know, good God. I had to pick up all my own toys when I was 3 and 4 and 5 years old. I had to clean up after myself. I had to put my shoes away. I had to make my bed, you know. I don't understand. I had to wipe my own tail, take my own bath. I mean, I don't understand why this woman is so proud of the fact that she did her own laundry and washed her own damn dishes. She's 29 fucking years old and a mother of 4. I was just, oh, good God, you know, I'm so proud of myself. And she was saying this to me, and she was always telling me about how naive and how immature and stupid I was. And I'm like, you're sitting there telling me that you're 29 years old and you're finally proud of it. And she wrote it down. She actually kept a journal of it. For the first time in my life, I did my laundry and did my dishes and actually cleaned up my own apartment. Like, fuck. She actually wrote this down and feels proud of it. I mean, I would be embarrassed to write this down at 29 years old as a mother of 4. Just my opinion, but you know what I mean? It was just crazy. And then she told me what a crazy, immature, manipulative, how she ran everything and how crazy I was and what an insane control freak psycho man I was. And I was like, I'd read the stuff she'd wrote and I'd go, oh my God, this is insane. But I can't get out of here because the courts and the systems will always give her the children and extort me and make my life a living hell. So I have to try to tolerate this and help her grow and mature as a human being. It may never happen, but if I can just get the kids through this and get to a point where she finally finds in too much of a trouble and not too much of an economic whatever, you know, maybe get to the point where, like, maybe when Kate's like 13 and I just don't let her and try to talk her into doing the hideous things that she does out of view of the girls. I mean, I tried every compromise, every way to get through that living hell. It was hard. All right, guys. I love you, man. This is really deep, man. It's very introspective, but that's what we're doing because I'm trying to explain to you guys how things work, how life works, and what I've been through. You keep wanting to compare yourself to me, and I keep throwing you back what went down and how everything went and how it worked. I would have never thought this shit up, man. I'm not like Mike Aquino and the people at the Presidio and the people in America in the banking industry and stuff like that. I am nothing like this. I mean, I have to analyze this, connect to this, and tell you what these people are up to and explain it to you. It's mind-boggling, insane, and crazy to me. I hate talking about it because I just want it to stop because it makes so much, it's so insane to me and makes so little sense that it's hard to connect and relate to these people. It's maddening. So I just want it to stop. You know what I'm saying? So I love you guys. I'm going to go get my grub on, and then we'll talk to you later. All right. Blessings and peace.